This is Hedvig. I'm making a little video from Australia. I wanted to tell you a little bit of how I am, and also talk about some things I've been thinking a lot about when it comes to political commentary and bubbles and the kind of bias thing that goes on when we are in a certain bubble and in certain feeds and news feeds, because I was thinking a lot about that today. So first off, I'm in Australia. This is my room. This is the funnest part of the room, and I'm doing well. I'm living in a suburb called Ainsley in Canberra, and yeah, things are going well, trotting along, getting new friends, doing fun things. I'll make a little montage that I'll clip in like right after now of like things I have done.
To play 5 songs and drink some more and fall asleep. Getting taped by locals, don't have the nerve to ask for food and die of thirst in the backseats of rented wrecks. Let's hope these wheels got what it takes to carry us home. Soul DJs, and you know the riot that brings. I wanna turn all their dance floors into a burning inferno of bop. I played a piano and I played a guitar. I played it on clubs and I played it in bars. I visited your city and I slept on your floors. I borrowed your strings and I've heard you hardcore on the scores of the C to the A and the youth of today, and it's beautiful. Still I can't get enough of it. Did you see me eating frosties from your fridge? And the rice cookies you never ate were all gone when you went into the kitchen.
Okay, back from montage. So I am right now working on learning Samoan. This is a book for learning Samoan, and planning my PhD project and doing other work with other things, and also trying to settle into living in Australia. Australia is not that different from what I expected, or I mean, I've lived in Canada, and this has a lot of similarities. The supermarkets are similar, for example, and predominant car culture is similar. Just before I came here, I lived in the Netherlands, so I'm still biking sort of as if I'm in like Uppsala or Malmö or Utrecht or something. But I haven't gotten into any accidents yet, and I am biking responsibly. You don't have to worry. But I'm just like, you know, I'm the king of the road. Like, a car tries to, no, not gonna happen. What else? Not much else actually. I was in New Zealand, as you probably saw from the montage. I'm back now. I'm gonna be in Canberra for a while longer, and then people are coming to visit, and then I'm gonna go to Samoa for a while. I'm learning Samoan. I'm gonna say something in Samoan to you, and it won't be great, but that's okay, because then I can look at it later and be like, oh, I was so awful, like I'm so much better now. Okay, so first we can say hello, talofa, or we can say mahalo, depending on hierarchies and structures and things. And then I can say olo'o inoa o he ti viku, I think is how we're gonna do my name. So that was, my name is Hedvig. You can also say my mom's name is Aini. Olo'o tina, no. Now I said it wrong. Ole inoa o lo'o tina o Aini. I should be doing correctly now. Yes. I created that from my head. I said, no, I did it wrong. I said the name of my mother, and I should have said anyway. Yeah. Anyway, never mind that right now. I'm learning some phrases and getting things together, hopefully. So I was thinking about something today that I thought maybe I should talk about. So I've been a bit stressed lately about like that I should make videos or make blogs or something, because I feel like I think about a lot of things and I have things I want to share, but I don't know how to share it in a good way. And I find that a lot of the things I do, I'm not really satisfied with. But one way of getting better at doing things is actually just doing them. So for example, this is going to be a video that's not going to be great, and I'm going to have like cringes about, and then I'm going to just, bite into the sour apple, as we say in Swedish, and just stick through. And then if I get into the habit, maybe I'll get better at doing it. Who knows? So everybody says when they start a vlog. Anyway, it's true. So something I've been thinking about today is, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's my phone. And I listen to American journalism, Swedish satire and comedy, and American storytelling, and Australian news, and I guess Swedish popular science and British popular science. Those are sort of the categories that I listen to. And I subscribe to several channels that deal with like Swedish political commentary and satire. And there's something I've been thinking a lot about, which is that, so there are a few comedians. So traditionally Swedish political commentary and satire is dominated by sort of leftist, socialist views. And I should probably say at this point that I do consider myself a sort of socialist, or depending on what country you are and what socialist means to you, but somewhere on the left sphere, definitely. And there are comedians, predominantly, I guess 3, maybe 4 at least, that are doing what I think is really fun and necessary and good comedy and political commentary, but from a more sort of right perspective, at least from Swedish views. You Americans or Australians would probably still consider it pretty lefty, but it's pretty right for us. This is all going to get fucked up with right and wrong, so right and left, right and wrong, it's bad. Anyway, I was thinking about the fact that sometimes they do observations that are meant to be a sort of response to something that they feel is getting too much space, or getting so there are sometimes people who are sort of from my group, my political group, but that I think make bad journalism or bad arguments, and I get a bit like embarrassed and a bit sad, because I want my side to have excellent theories and argumentations, and it's not always true. And sometimes these satirical people like kind of point that out, sometimes in unnecessarily provocative ways. So by this point, anybody who follows Swedish satire should have figured out that I'm kind of thinking of like Jonathan Unge, Ola Söderholm, Simon Svensson, and Kristoffer Svensson. As like the sort of... This is all gonna get a bit awkward because none of them are fully like this, etc, etc, etc. So let's just add lots of brasklappar, caveats, and I'll be fine. But anyway, I was thinking about the fact that the Swedish debate climate, especially in like urban environments, and especially if you hang out in like the kind of crowds that I used to hang out in Sweden and still do, the ones you find in Södermalm and Möllan, they're like sort of highly educated academic middle class that are like intellectual and leftist. You can get like overdoses on certain types of rhetorics that sometimes are a bit dull or boring. And sometimes these comedians and also others react towards this and point out flaws. Sometimes inappropriately in a bad way, I have to say. But most of the time, and I think that one need to provoke sort of stems from getting that overdosed and feeling like intellectually insulted. God, this is gonna get so bad. But I feel like I do want to talk about this, so I'll still continue doing it. But what I want to come to is that I don't live so much in that bubble anymore. I live in a very similar bubble. I live in Australian academic intellectual bubble, which is fairly similar. But I also meet people for which some of these things that are taken as some of these ideas that these guys get sick of are actually subversive and new and not okay, let's do an example. I started subscribing on Instagram to Ola Söderholm because I thought it was fun, and I subscribed to the podcast of Ladrevet, so thought I'd check it out. And he put a picture up of a comic strip that Nina Hemmingsson made a long time ago that was a New Year's resolution advice directed at women. And one of the things that was in that picture was a woman masturbating, and then it said like, one New Year's resolution you should have is like masturbate more. And Ola made the comment that this is a very lame statement. That's very unedgy and not subversive enough for the feminist struggle. And in Sweden, in Möllan and Södermalm, that's true. It's not a very interesting statement to make. This is not one of the intellectually insulting and boring ones. It's not. But it's not a very interesting thing to say. And the reason he feels he needs to say it is because he feels like he gets overdosed by these kinds of like preaching to the choir. I'm totally analyzing somebody I don't know. But I do think it's something like that. Getting sick of like overanalyzing and preaching to the choir and sort of boring just identity marking politics. But the thing is, outside of Möllan and Södermalm, if you don't only hang out with, I'm not going to drop any more names, but if you don't only hang out with like middle class academic leftist people, those things are actually shocking and new. As weird as it might sound. There are a lot of things that we take for granted in Swedish politics, and when people say them, you get sort of like, can we not have that basic discussion again about, for example, women's rights to their own bodies or something. It's not, it's considered like picking easy points to say something like that, because it's like, yeah. The sad thing about that is that it's not really like that, like, everywhere in Sweden, and it's not really like that here where I live. And it is awkward getting news from a bubble that I know, and I sort of kind of like figure out like what's going on in that bubble. But I am living outside of it, and I'm seeing why things like saying like that. Well, take the example like women should masturbate more and they shouldn't feel ashamed for their bodies. I get a lot of things in my Facebook feeds from friends from all over the world making, like, spreading news about like women having the right to their own bodies, people being racist and taking white privilege for granted, body shaming in both directions, thin and fat, and lots of other types of news about struggles from oppression and things. And sometimes when I read them, I think to myself like, yeah, like this is, we need to say this, and especially when they are presented not with sort of what I would consider like rational arguments, but more like just emotional, moral arguments. Because I agree with these views, I just think they can be argued for better sometimes. But then I meet people that are from outside of my bubble, and I understand that those news those are about actual things, and they are well suited for those other bubbles. And it just becomes even more apparent how I'm living in a bubble, and it's weird getting news from other bubbles. So bubbles, and it's sort of getting weird. I think that's what I wanted to say. It's all bubbles, and it's all getting weird. When I hear like Kristoffer Svensson or Simon Svensson or all of those guys, or also like I think Simon M still a bit sometimes. When I hear them sort of make these like retorts, I think to myself like, you have no idea how much, like, I agree with you, but like the sad thing is that that's a sensible, necessary thing to say sometimes, and the way of arguing that point that I might consider flawed and unrational might actually be the best way of arguing that point if you're like in America. I do think that like preaching to the choir and is uninteresting. It's good if you come from a background where you weren't part of that choir and you became part of that choir and you want to feel as a part of that identity, but later, I don't know, I don't see it as very useful. Okay, that's a bit of a rant. I might not agree with what I've said, or I think I do. Sorry, it was a bit unprocessed and a lot of things. I hope you got something out of it. I mainly wanted to try and see what it was like to talk to a camera and about something I'm thinking about. And then maybe if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't, and that's fine. Okay, I think I don't have anything else to say. I think that's it. Goodbye.